Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about how not to cheat on your diet and how to stick to eating resolutions that you might have made. I've been on the paleo diet for about a year and a half to 2 years now, and I very rarely cheat on it. I'm really good, and it's because of a couple of little tactics that I've picked up along the way, and really not my own willpower that has allowed me to stay strong and eat the healthiest things for my body. So these are basically my guidelines and rules that I would recommend in order to stay on the paleo diet or to stick to any kind of diet or resolution that you have involving your eating. The first thing is to be realistic. If you are somebody that doesn't stick to goals really well or who doesn't remember to do things, then don't be too hard on yourself when you forget things or when you just sort of be yourself and muck up a little bit. I think that people who really struggle to eat breakfast, maybe making the resolution to have breakfast every single day isn't a realistic resolution. It's probably much more realistic to say, okay, I'm going to try and have breakfast 2 days a week and then scale it up from there. I think that scaling things is really important when it comes to being realistic. For instance, when I first went paleo, I did breakfast first, and that was the hardest thing for me because it was always a grain type of meal for breakfast, and changing that to be a non-grain event was really difficult. And so that was sort of my first step, and I didn't change my entire diet overnight. I just did breakfast, and then after getting used to that for a little bit, I did lunch and snacks and then dinner, and I found that realistic phasing in of a new way of eating was much more successful, and I was much more successful long term than what I would have been if I'd have been like, okay, today I'm going to do paleo and I'm never going to eat grains again, you know? So definitely be realistic. That said, when you are first starting out, you will be the most enthusiastic about it. So really get into it and seize that. Start organizing yourself, empty out your pantry of all foods that you don't want to be eating, empty out your fridge of all those foods that you don't want to be eating. If it's not in the house, then you can't cheat with it, and that's huge. With my pantry, I've done a video before where I've gone through what's in my pantry, but essentially what I've done is everything that's at eye level is part of my diet, and then the things that are above and below are not. And I find that that's the best I can do because I have foods in my house that other people eat that aren't paleo or primal. But with me, when I open the pantry, I see the food that I'm supposed to be eating and not the food that I'm not supposed to be eating. Similarly, all of my cheat ingredients in my fridge, I've now organized to be in the fridge door. And then when I open the fridge and look inside it, that's the food that I should really be eating. And that's definitely made a difference. So empty out your pantry and your kitchen of all the food that you shouldn't be eating, and then you can't cheat. And if that's not realistic, then reconfigure your food storage so that the stuff that you see first is the stuff that's part of your diet, and that will definitely help out. So yeah, chuck out all temptation. Obviously, starting new recipes and stocking up your pantry on awesome paleo-friendly food or diet-friendly foods is a really good step for when you're first starting out and you're really enthusiastic. Once you kind of get over it a little bit, if you haven't built that foundation of, you know, really good recipes and really good techniques and food preservation ideas and that sort of thing, then, and you're not already in that habit from the beginning, then it's hard to continue once that first enthusiasm phase peters out. Also, another thing for paleo and primal is definitely just cut out grains and gluten straight away. I found that I cut out grains and gluten pretty much immediately after I'd incorporated paleo eating into, I think, 2 meals, and then I was like, okay, that's it, I'm not going to have any more bread, I'm not going to have any more pasta. And I think that if you cut out gluten really early on when you're in that really keen, enthusiastic phase, then when you get over it a little bit and you're like, oh, I'll have a cheat meal, it's okay, you know, I'll have some bread, you'll feel sick because you're not used to it and because you haven't had it in like 2 or 3 weeks. And that'll keep you on the straight and narrow after that. I find that I can tell if a steak that I have at the pub with gravy on it, I can tell whether there's flour in that gravy now or whether there's gluten in that gravy because I will feel a little bit queasy after I've eaten it. And that's really cool because it means that if someone offers me bread, oh, you know, come on, it's only 1 slice, it doesn't make a difference, I'm always going to say no because I know it's not worth it because I'm going to feel sick. And I think that cutting out grains and gluten early on will mean that when you're tempted to cheat, your body will actually tell you, no, 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 please don't do this because I feel horrible now. And yeah, that's huge. Another really good technique to stop you from cheating on your diet is to tell your friends about your diet. Post on Facebook or send a mass SMS out and tell everyone, this is what I'm doing, I'm going to start eating like this, and I'm going to be really good, and blah, blah, blah. And you will find that when you're out with your friends and you're tempted to cheat, they'll be like, you're not supposed to be eating that. I thought you messaged me and told me that you were on this diet now. And that definitely helps, telling your family members, so that when they see you sneaking to the fridge, they'll be like, I thought you weren't eating that now, is a really, really good way of keeping you on the straight and narrow. And also tell them to tell you not to cheat, so that when it does happen, they can kind of shame you out of it a little bit. I've found that the few times where I've slipped up and had rice or something with Asian food, my family are always like, I thought that rice wasn't on the paleo diet. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I know it's not. And then that means that next time I won't do it. So yeah, it definitely helps to tell your friends. And if you can, try and find someone else that's interested in losing weight or interested in getting fit or interested in the paleo diet and buddy up with them. And then if they're succeeding and you're not doing as well, then you'll be motivated by them and vice versa. I find that with me, I didn't get into the paleo diet alone, and the group of us that kind of started all at the same time, some of us have been successful and some of us haven't, but the ones that haven't are really, really motivated to try and be successful because they see the success of the successful people, if that makes sense. So yeah, getting a buddy that wants the same outcomes as you and doing the diet together is definitely really, really helpful. Another thing is when you're cleaning out your kitchen and getting rid of all of the non-paleo food in your kitchen, chuck out your takeaway menus so that you're not tempted to ring up and order takeaway, and delete anything that's kind of not paleo recipes or paleo menus and that kind of things from your bookmarks online if you do a lot of online ordering. It's also really good to sign up to things like the veggie boxes from food co-ops, so that you're actually being delivered vegetables every week and you basically being forced to eat them because you're receiving so many of them. It means that if you were tempted to not have vegetables and you're like, oh, but I have this celery now, oh, but I have this, you have to eat those things. And so at least you're getting that minimum nutrition level. And even if paleo doesn't ultimately work out for you, at least you're eating more vegetables than you would have been, and you will be healthier as a result. Another thing that I do is I eat quality food. I try and get nice vegetables, I try and get really tasty cuts of meat, and so that I'm just really excited about eating. I find that if you have the same old crap in your fridge week after week and you don't mix up your menu at all, then you'll get a little bit bored. Whereas if you have, new and exciting things, lychees maybe one day or fresh cherries another week, or it's exciting and you're like, oh, I haven't had a mango in 4 months, I'm really excited about having this mango. And eating seasonally as well, just to vary up the ingredients that you're having, is definitely really, really important in order to stick to the diet, because otherwise you will get bored, and being bored is not very good, and you will be forced to cheat and have noodles or something terrible instead. Organize your meals and plan what you're going to eat, especially when you're starting out. I find that when I was starting out rather, I found that if I hadn't kind of thought about what I was going to eat, I was like, God, what will I eat? What will I eat for dinner tonight? And look in the fridge and there'd kind of be nothing there because I hadn't been organised enough. I think that keeping your fridge stocked up with veggies and fruit and lots of different paleo options is really, really important, because that means that if you haven't organised yourself, at least there's something there for you to cook. But it's even better if you can organise your meals beforehand and have them sort of running order. Okay, I'm going to have this for breakfast, this for lunch, this for dinner. And then because you've planned it out and you've got all the ingredients there, you're not going to cheat and be like, oh, fuck it, I'll just have some pumpkins. That's basically the best advice I can give you. Obviously, keep up your willpower and put motivational pictures up in your kitchen, on the fridge if you're tempted to snack, and just really remember why you're doing this and what you want, and you'll be able to go really, really far. I've found that with the paleo diet, it's a realistic diet where you won't be tempted to cheat because there are so many options of things that you can eat at any time. And that's really key, just realistic. That's the massivest thing that I can recommend is just be realistic about your goals and about what you think you can achieve. And remember, it's you. You know what you're like. If you know that you're going to cheat doing a certain thing or with a certain ingredient, then make sure that that option is taken away from you. That's the easiest and the best way of doing it. Good luck, guys. Bye.